Sean and Joe, another episode ready to go. They're gonna talk about the good and the trash and anything in between. Cherishing make-believe, get ready for Halloween. It's the horror show. I know you missed those guys. Tune in and find out what's on their list tonight. They butcher and dissect, take apart and mutilate. Listen to your two favorite brainiacs communicate. It's the horror show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. Show it dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on, man?
Welcome back, man, from a stone cold week. Boy, yes. That was what feedback, man.
Got great feedback.
That's nuts. Insane feedback on that. An insane episode. What a joy.
Which I'm very happy about because, you know, we've talked about doing cult movies. Doing action movies like that, you know, I want to do mostly horror, but like throwing in action like that, I would love to do more often, and I'm very glad that it was so warmly received and other people want us to do it more often too, because we got some lined up and I'm very excited to do them.
Oh yeah, and that's going to be next week actually. We're going to do a couple action flicks. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, no, I agree with you, and it's a tricky thing because we are the horror show. Yeah. And we have said that we're going to do whatever we want this time around, which is cool. But like I still hesitate just like a tad on it, like whether what we should talk about, you know what I mean? But I think most of our fans are not, as we've learned, obviously, most of our fans are not here for like the horror movies. Although I have gotten messages from like fucking people that were like, I'm out if you don't talk about horror movies. It's like, okay, well, cool. We'll see you later. But like, to me, it's like, I wouldn't care. Like when I listen to podcasts, I wouldn't really care about the content they discuss more than I care more about the personalities of the people, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
That was always my thing. Like I didn't like when we listened to Bill Simmons, I didn't give a fuck what he talked about until he became a fucking rambling idiot. Like it was more like his personality changed, and then I was like, fuck this guy. Like.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, it's just the fact that we call ourselves the horror. Like, I'm with you. And, like, nobody gives a shit, right? It's still the same format. We do the same fucking thing. It's just the fact that we call ourselves the horror show. It makes me be like, I feel kind of weird not doing a horror movie. But I think we're getting over it, and I'm very excited to do. And I think, you know, action movies like that, like, I'm not going to do Rambo, or I'm not going to do First Blood, right?
Right.
But when we do action movies like Stone Cold are the ones that we're going to do, you know, coming up, I think they're very much in line with like doing a B movie.
Exactly. I think that's more what it is, right? It's not so much cult movies or horror movies. It's just like B movies is like really our fucking wheelhouse. And like
yeah.
And you know, just absurd shit. And I think all of that falls in line with the horror show. So it's not like we're going to do fucking, you know, I don't know. I can't even think of an example. Although we did just talk about doing Bushwhacked, which would. But you know what? Fucking save those for fucking Patreon. Fuck it.
Yeah, but also we've talked about Bush. We've had unless you've edited them out or unless I'm imagining.
No, I haven't.
I feel like we've made a Bushwhack reference since we've come back on every episode, so it's only right that we do.
Joe, you can't find that fucking movie anywhere.
I own it on DVD.
Do you really?
I do. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But the bad thing is my DVDs are in the fucking pod because I haven't moved into a new home yet.
Oh right. I can't wait for you to move. I'm sure you
can.
Feel the same.
I'm wearing a ski mask recording this. This is so cold.
Okay.
We did it live and somebody was able to see my breath. That's how cold it was.
Joe, I get a lot of movies off of torrents. I have, thanks to our fan of the show, Matt Ryan, he hooked me up with an account at Pass the Popcorn, which literally has every movie ever made. I just try not to use literally every fucking movie you could ever fucking imagine. They do not have Bushwhacked on there. That's actually shocking to me. Fuck. Well, let's see what Amazon has for purchasing options. I just love that fucking movie.
Yeah, you know we're gonna hate it, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna be like, Joe, the DVD sells for $50 on fucking Amazon. Oh my god. What? Why is this movie so hard to find?
I don't know.
All right, I gotta get your DVD copy. This is fucking unbelievable. Although I could probably just go to fucking GameStop this stream, fucking get one for $3. Maybe not. And when
fucking bushwhacked.
Dude, I would do anything for fucking Bushwhack. Bushwhack $16.50 plus $2.90 for pre-owned DVD. Buying it. All right. Well, this is a great start to the horror show. Listening to me by Bushwhack. Listen, I made some questionable choices with my drink tonight, and I'm feeling it. Hey, we were talking about the action movies. Next week we are going to do Guns.
Yes.
Now, Guns,
a movie that probably nobody's ever heard of.
Correct. It's made in 1990. It is
so I came across I love, sharing other people's stories to my feed. Like I like anything that I pop across, I'm like, oh, I'm going to share that,
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up following this page, in finding other people doing the same thing. And this page just posts 80s, 90s nostalgic things, but really, really B-level stuff. And they posted this picture of two very attractive women with their breasts practically popping out of their shirts, holding huge guns, right? So fuck yeah, this is awesome. So I put it up there. I was like, and then I looked at, farther into it to see if I could find what it was in this movie called Guns. And one of our listeners, Moderate Chaos, who supports us, him and his wife.
Oh yeah, they're so
everything we do. So shout out to them. They ended up watching it because I shared it to my stories, and then we're immediately like, you guys need to do this. And I looked more into it. I was like, we fucking definitely need to do this. So I cannot wait to watch Guns. I know that nobody knows what that movie is, and you're probably like, why are you doing Guns? But that's the backstory, and it looks very fun. So I can't wait.
And let's talk about the director. The director is a fellow by the name of Andy Sedaris. If you Google him, he shows up in he looks like a fucking lawyer. He's in a suit with a picture of chest up in his suit. He has directed Malibu Express, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Picasso Trigger, Savage Beasts, Guns, Do or Die, Hard Hunted, Fit to Kill. These are all movies, and these are year after year after year. 85, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, and 2 and 93. All of these movies have been recommended to us by listeners. And they are all insane. Savage Beast, Savage Beach, DEA agents flying cargo as part of their cover to make an emergency landing on a remote island in the Pacific, where several unscrupulous parties are looking for a World War II golden treasure. And the cover just has two scantily clad women holding giant guns and a shadow of a ninja behind them. Fucking ridiculous. These movies are out of control. I'm man, good for Andy. He wrote these. So I'm excited to do these movies, and I would love to do more of his movies down the line.
Oh, we should do one once every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, Andy Sedaris, appreciation. Always. Oh my god, I'm so...
we're gonna watch, dude, Sean, we're gonna watch Guns and be like, I'm never watching another Andy Sedaris movie.
Andy Sedaris is a piece of shit. I don't ever want to watch this again. Jesus Christ. And then 6 months from now we'll be like, do an Andy Sedaris movie, and you'll be like, are you sure you want to do that? And I'll be like, oh, I don't know. Oh man. Well, that's that. Oh, and then
Guns.
So Guns is next week, but we're doing Guns in anticipation of Hard Ticket to Hawaii, baby, for Patreon
live show.
Yeah, the Patreon live show, February 27th, I think I said.
My last one in the fucking icy fortress of doom.
Hopefully, it's the coldest night of them all. February 27th, we are doing Hard Ticket to Hawaii. If you're a Patreon Mangle Expert tier, you're in for free. If you're not, we will have tickets available on IHateHorror.com. I'll actually set that up tonight for everyone to access tickets. If you are a Patreon member already and you want to join without paying the full price of a ticket, hit me up. I'll see what we can do for you, all right? Just email me, Sean at IHateHorror.com. We can give you like a discount code or something. Because we appreciate all of our Patreon fans out there. So I appreciate you. And that's that. Do we have any other house cleaning shit? I don't think we do. Oh,
I don't think so.
Shirts. I'm like a quarter of the way packed. Sent. Those are, dude. I'm fucking drunk. I'm so sorry. The shirts. I'm like a quarter of the way through packing and shipping those out. So some people are already getting them. Hopefully this week I'll wrap up all of them. That's my goal. I got the label maker. We're flying. I'm actually just waiting on the USPS to send me their fucking flat rate boxes. But that's that. All right. Now we can start. Valentine. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, Joe.
It is.
What'd you get for your lady? Your lady love.
Butt plug with Paul's face on.
Okay, everyone, that's a reference to IG Live. It's not a random joke. And I did the same for Valentine's Day. A fucking mole with Paul's idiot face on it. Paul, dude, imagine if it had Paul doing the Paul face on it too. Like,
I mean, that's exactly how I envisioned it.
Like a really alarming face.
So like, so when you pull it out of your butt, that's what the face that you're looking at.
Staring at,
frowning in disappointment.
staring back at you like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the funniest thing ever. Dude, this product keeps getting better and better. If you want...
I'm all on board, man.
If you want the Paul butt plug, hashtag, what did we call it? The Paul, what did we call it? There was two products we had. The Keister can.
Plug, the Paul plug and the Keister can.
All right. If you want it, hashtag Paul plug on Instagram. And we'll try and find a manufacturer.
Yeah. Honestly, I like this idea. so when I post the picture for this week's movie, because every Tuesday I throw up a picture, which I also want to mention because I always every Tuesday. Every
You're
Tuesday,
gonna do this right now. I'm
since
so
we
happy.
started,
So
every Tuesday since we started this show, I posted a picture of the movie that we're doing, like a still. And every single week, somebody's like, "Hey, man, what's this from?" It's what our episode's on. Damn it! So that's what that's what the picture is, and B, what was I going with this? Oh yeah, when I throw it up this week, just respond with a hashtag either Keister can or Paul plug, and if we get a good response, we'll go forward with this. we now know that we have a guy that makes specializes in things.
He made cum rags, embroidered cum rags. It's not. We don't have a guy yet. I don't think he can make a buck.
Listen. He's close enough. He can get the job done.
If you can dream it, we can build it. Also, if you'd like a rag, with Paul's face. The only reason I don't want to do this is because, dude, people are gonna send us fucking like pictures of them like used, like, hey.
Well,
dude, a fucking mold of Paul's face with doo-doo on it. Like, the fuck out of here. Oh my god. Well, speaking of romance, Valentine 2001, recommended by your bride. Your bride recommended this. 2001.
Yes.
What did she think of it?
She really liked it.
She really liked it. Dave, starring, what's this guy's name? David Boreanaz? Boreanaz.
Shout out to a longtime listener, Megan Catherine, big Buffy fan. She referred to him as David Snorianus, which gave me a great chuckle.
I'm all about that. This guy fucking sucks. I hate this guy. I hate this guy so fucking much. It's unbelievable. fucking bowling shirt bones. He wears a bowling shirt in every scene in this. Looks like a fucking asshole. It's unbelievable. And this was the height of Buffy and
Angel. Like, Angel was already,
yeah.
Yeah. Angel was in full effect.
Angel was in full fucking effect, man. And that's what I was a little surprised. I'm going to be honest with you, because he acted like a fucking cardboard cutout for most of the movie. I was like, this is fucking weird. And I was like, this.
Although I think that might have been intentional to kind of throw this movie had a lot of red herrings,
sure,
but then ultimately was the most predictable ending.
It was the most predictable thing I've ever seen in my life.
Which is frustrating, because they honestly threw me for a loop. I was like, oh, well, that was not what I expected.
Yeah.
But then it was. But then it was the very next scene. You're like, oh, okay.
Dude, the red herrings were dog shit. And, like, there's a scene midway through the movie that actually just identifies everything. And you're like, well, that's fucking him. And you might watch the rest of it being like, wait, is it? But, like, you know damn well it's fucking Bones. Like, it's fucking insane. They did not...
Yeah, spoiler alert for a 20-year-old movie. But... which is crazy. 20
That's
years.
nuts.
Holy
oh my
shit.
God. You just melted my brain. You just melted my fucking brain. Holy
We're fucking old. I remember this. I remember it coming out. I didn't see it in theaters, but I remember it coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, the fucking soundtrack is ripping.
It has a orgy. Orgy on it.
A little Marilyn Manson little orgy.
Yeah. Filter.
Yeah,
Disturbed.
Rob Zombie's Super Beast, the Porno Holocaust mix, which, if you've heard that mix, it's fucking the worst thing in the world. It is one of the worst remixes of all time.
Dude, calling something the Porno Holocaust mix, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me?
Well, Static X's song is the Mephisto Odyssey's Voodoo mix.
Nice.
You got Linkin Park, Pushing Me Away, which that sounds a little early for Linkin Park. 2001? Maybe not.
I think their debut was 2000.
Oh, okay. Deftones. How would you even say this? Prescription Queen? RX Queen? It's written RX Queen.
I've always called it RX Queen. I don't know.
That's what I would too. But
always called it.
It's a fucking jerk. What did you think of their new album, by the way?
Loved it. It was in my top 10 of the year.
Really? I haven't listened to it.
I actually just compiled my top 100 of the year.
Holy mackerel!
I should throw it up on my Instagram.
You should.
Doing it for myself. Nobody will ever read it.
No, you should do it. I was actually thinking about doing like a DJ set with you on Twitch, like as a bonus thing. I got to figure out how to set it up, but my understanding is on Twitch we can get away with like playing songs like a DJ set.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah. So
I think we should do something like that. Set that up.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that the other day. Let's see what else they got on this soundtrack. Amanda Ghost. I don't know who that is. Professional Murder Music. I don't know who that is.
No.
BT. I don't know who that is. Also, BT, it says there's song title Smart Bomb, and then it says BT's mix. Wouldn't the original song be your mix? Fucking idiots. It's like the most idiotic thing I've ever read in my life. Soulfly featuring Sean Lennon.
Nice.
That is not included in the film. You got a little Filter, and then you got some band called Snake River Conspiracy, which I've never heard of.
Nah, nobody has.
Yeah. I feel like this could have been a more stacked album.
Agreed.
For 2001, you've basically got the Family Values tour-ish vibe going. Like
you definitely should have had Limp Bizkit.
100%. 100%. What are you doing?
Maybe some edema. Put some edema on there.
Dude, fucking, they missed out, dude. Missed the fuck.
Some Taproot.
All right. So, how did you feel about this movie?
Listen. There were people as recently as like 10 minutes ago in our IG Live that were like, I'd rather gouge my eyes out than sit through this again. I don't know what you're on. We've seen a lot of bad movies through this show.
Yes.
Maybe I'm desensitized. And I remember this getting slammed, right? It's not that bad. I think here are my biggest qualms with it. I'll just get it out of the way up front. It's very clearly, it's been done before, right? It's not original, and the movies that it's like knocking have done a better job at it, right? And I don't even know if that's true because all I can think of was Prom Night, and Prom Night's not even that good. But it's not original. It came at a time where like slasher homages, I guess homages is what you would call it. They're like frowned upon, whereas like now all we get is like Paranormal Activity homages, where like it was like refreshing, like bring back some slashers for me. But this movie, like if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna like make callbacks to the slasher movies that everyone grew up on, why is there no nudity? Why is there no like extreme gore? It's just like the most vanilla homage that you could possibly make for a slasher movie.
Super.
I think that's my biggest qualm with it.
Super, super vanilla. I'm curious if they're... Let's see, when was this released?
2001.
But what month and day? I'm curious. So February, March, April.
It's February, yeah.
Okay, so that falls out of line with my like 2000, like my 9/11 thoughts of like, kind of like rolling back on that. Maybe it was just the time period, but yeah, all of these sites just fucking destroyed it at the time. And we talked I think I mentioned it last week. Like the director was like, yeah, I know it's a piece of shit. I'm sorry. We tried. And I was like, I'm watching the movie. And I'm like, this is like way better than a lot of the shit we've fucking covered.
Perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Like I would never be like, you love horror? Have you ever seen Valentine? Like, no, of course not. But like, out of everything that we've done, it's not even remotely close to being the most offensive or unwatchable. No,
yeah, and I just had it. Fucking the director was like, forgive me for Valentine. A lot of people give me grief for that, but we did our best. Like, what? That's fucking insanity. Although this is interesting. Valentine was shot on location in Vancouver, British Columbia, with principal photography commencing, blah, blah, blah. Boreanaz shot all of his scenes in less than 2 weeks.
I mean, all he did was fucking mope around.
He did mope around, but he's in like 8 million different areas. You know what I mean? Like, he's in every location. So it's kind of fucking weird.
True.
And then wait, where did it say Katherine Heigl only had 3 days to shoot her scenes, as she was already committed to the Roswell TV show.
She trashed this movie too afterwards, which seems like it's kind of her MO, right?
Right.
She's always trashing something she's in.
Which is like probably why people stopped working with her.
Yeah, because she was in Knocked Up. I remember she trashed and Knocked Up, and it's like, dude, what? That's a fucking huge hit.
The whole fucking the fucking Stephen King MO.
Trash is something that's good.
Trash something that you're part of, or like you paid you to make. Like you got paid to make a movie, and then you're like, don't go fucking see this. His fucking Shining thing was so out of control. And
yeah, I remember Bill Cosby doing the same thing for Leonard Part 6. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember him on a talk show being like, please do not go see this movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We should do Leonard Part 6.
Yeah, we probably actually should. This director, Jamie Blank, he did Urban Legend also.
Which we did on the show, right?
I have no fucking idea. He did.
I think we did.
He did Urban Legend. Oh, we did do Urban Legend. It wasn't bad. So then he goes on to create Valentine, which is based on a novel.
Wow! All right.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Written by Tom Savage, which sounds super familiar, but I don't know if. Oh, that's because he's a quarterback. I was like, yeah, I remember Tom Savage. Remember he was drafted by the Houston.
It sounds familiar. I don't remember.
That's definitely the one I'm thinking of. But apparently there's Tom Savage, the author. So he wrote a book that got picked up and they made this movie out of it. So anyway, let me get back to my notes here because there was a reason I asked you about that. Oh, so you thought it was fine. I thought it was... It's like background noise to me, I guess, is how I would qualify it. It's like white noise, essentially. It's not like offensive. There was nothing in it that I was like, oh my God. And like you said, no gore, no real nudity, no anything that really defines it as like a slasher per se. But it does feel like one of those movies that I feel like there's going to be like all these Twitter hot takes this weekend, or maybe it's already happened, being like, hot take, because Twitter's just a fucking nightmare, where everyone's just like, I'm just going to say it, Valentine is fucking great. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's that movie that it got trashed forever, but now it's going to be that thing where everyone's like, oh, Valentine's good. And
listen, I'm okay with that hot take.
I'm not okay with it. I don't think it's good. I don't think... here's my problem with it is they were like, who could it be? You literally know who it is like fucking 10 minutes into the fucking movie.
That I do agree with. That and I said that I do agree with. But in the pantheon of Valentine movies, you don't have a lot to pick from. So if you're gonna settle for this, it's not that bad, man.
I mean, I guess.
It's not, dude. Its reputation is so fucking shitty. Its IMDb score is lower than like 90% of the movies that we review. That's insane. It's not. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. I mean,
it's boring.
It's very similar to. Well, yeah, it's very similar to Prom Night, as I mentioned, which I don't like Prom Night. I mean, April Fool's Day it reminded me of a lot, which I like April Fool's Day, but I can see why other people don't. It's kind of Scream-esque in a way. Denise Richards' character's last name is even Prescott, which is fucking insane.
Ooh, that's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean they pulled from like every other movie, so there's no originality to it whatsoever.
I mean, I guess you're right? Like it's just something. They just made a movie, right? And hey, it was an original, franchise, so give them props for that. The cast wasn't bad. I don't know. There's just something about it. Just, I don't know.
So, like, the acting wasn't the most terrible, but I said on IG Live, it's the most vanilla cast I think I've ever seen in the movie. That's my other biggest criticism. It's like
that's the worst part.
I could not, other than Denise Richards' last name being Prescott, I really couldn't tell you who was who in this movie. It was very fucking hard.
I only picked up on Denise's name, Paige. Everyone else was a fucking blur. It was like Dorothy, Kate.
I picked up on Dorothy only because of the end. Like I could properly identify her.
The last three people in the movie, the last three gals in the movie, those are the only names I've got. But there's like 4 others that start out the movie, and you're like, who the fuck? I can't tell any of you apart until the end.
Even the guys that come in. Like, who's this guy again?
Oh
like,
my!
They kind of like they started looking the same after a while. I was like, wait. I remember there was one point where the guy who was living or dating Dorothy, I was like, wait, this guy didn't have a goatee before? And she was like, no. Like, that fucking blows my mind. Like, I thought he was the other guy. What?
Yo, that is true. And it's also because there's 8 million guys in this movie. Like, they really need it, which is fucking mental. So the whole movie is really like a little bit of a statement on dating and relationships at the time, which is also fascinating to watch. A 2001 dating.
Speed dating?
Oh my God.
Multiple speed dating scenes?
Dude, video dating still in 2001. It was mind-blowing. It fucking blew my mind. So like the dating scene was a big part of it, and that's fine, but I could not keep track of who they were dating or who these fucking guys were. And it's weird because you had like maybe, let's say, 4 or 5 men in this film that were supposed to be red herrings, and you didn't focus any effort, any time on like building them up to
Sean,
convince us.
I just remembered this literally just now. There is a guy who, we'll talk about very soon. I apologize. I've been doing this every episode so far, just talking about it already. But there's a guy who we meet almost immediately at a speed dating thing, and he's referring to himself in the first person. His name's Jason, right? And he's the biggest fucking doofus.
Fire Marshal Bill.
He's the biggest douchebag. Like, yeah, honestly made me laugh as to how big of a douchebag he was. He shows up at an art exhibition, and Denise Richards makes eye contact with him. He's like, hey there. And he's like, and then he disappears. And that's the biggest red herring I've ever fucking seen. And he never comes back in the movie after that. There's no need for him to even be in that scene or make eye contact with Denise Richards. And he runs away for no reason, which, given everything we know about this guy from the opening scene, why would he's the biggest arrogant, dickhead ever. Why would he do that? Dude, and he just completely never comes back.
That was insane. And so was when the girls solved the fucking mystery of who the fucking guy was in 5 minutes. And then it took 3/4 of the movie for them to be like, it is him. And I was like, yeah, no, what? We all know that. You can't drop that shit to the fucking viewer that knows who the fucking killer is.
Put the pieces together immediately and said it as a joke, maybe it's this guy. And it was yeah, that's.
I honestly want to talk about that scene right now because it fucking pissed me off so fucking bad. Because they're literally brainstorming. They're sitting around brainstorming, and then they land on it, and it's the only guy that it makes sense. And they're like, I don't know, I don't know about that.
It's literally his initials, and they're like, oh yeah, remember the time we all were a piece of shit to him and then bullied him and he had to go to reform school?
Dude, my favorite...
Of course it's him.
My favorite thing was they were talking about him and they were like, oh yeah, remember he's a pervert, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, yeah, that's definitely him. And then it cuts to Denise Richards and she was like, oh man, we were fucking terrible to that guy.
Yeah. She literally says that. And then Dorothy, and then everyone's like, well, he did do this to Dorothy. And Dorothy's like, I kind of lied about that. What the fuck?
It's literally like this. Oh, dude, if we were in a room, imagine that happening. We'd be like, oh, we know who it is. We should probably call somebody.
You would tell the authorities immediately, which is funny because they don't do that. And then the cop, who is a big piece of shit, but the cop finds out. He's like, wait a second. Wait, you know all this? You didn't tell me?
I loved that cop for so many scenes. And then he just pulled out the piece of shit card. And then he pulled out the piece of shit card.
I said that out loud to Tina. I was like, this cop needs to be in more scenes. And as soon as I said that, he sexually assaults Denise Richards. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Dude, same. I was like, this guy fucking rules and is the best cop because he's literally just so sick of their shit. And is just like, what are you talking? Fucking, are you insane? When the one girl's like, hey, do you have any more recent photos? And he looks at her like she's fucking lost her mind. It's like, no, of course I don't. If I did, that's what we'd be fucking looking at.
Dude, he looks like James Taylor and Woody Harrelson. Mated. Also, I looked this guy up because I was like, this guy has the most cop face probably of any cop, real cop 100%. Ever. And he started acting at age 45 and he played a cop in every single movie ever.
He totally is. Well, let's get into this fucking movie. We're already 30 minutes in.
Which is funny because we were like, oh, thank God we're doing Valentine this week because last week we talked for 3 hours and we just need something to cleanse our palate, a nice easy one. We did a live for an hour and a half and now we've already talked for...
Love the sound of our own voices. It's unbelievable. We open up with what appears to be a fucking trailer. I've never seen an opening like this. It was really fucking weird. 1988, Robert F. Kennedy High School yearbook. We're getting the opening credits / looking through a yearbook with nonsensical writing in it. It just says, I love her, I hate her, written all over it.
All over people's faces.
All over people's faces. We learn that Jeremy is a dorky boy. This is middle school, right?
Yes.
All right. Jeremy's a dorky boy in middle school, and he's asking everyone to dance. And while this is happening, it's got that like doo 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 doo. It looks like a fucking trailer. Like I was like, what the fuck is this? But no one wants to dance with poor little Jeremy. Jeremy does not want to be danced with. And then he meets Dorothy. I
think it's important to note that there is one girl who's like, she clearly feels bad because everyone else is turning him down, and she's like, maybe later, like ask me again later, because she's the one who comes into play later.
I didn't even pick up on that because I thought this was all fucking.
No, because at the end, as we'll find out, he keeps repeating. Can I just jump ahead for a second? Dude,
the end was so fucking stupid.
Sean, he says to her, I've always loved you. And then like another 20 minutes pass and he says it again. And she's like, oh, wait, are you like, he's already said this to you. And that didn't like fucking alarm you and you didn't connect the pieces?
Joe,
are you kidding me?
And then at the end, she's still the other name.
I know.
That was one of the most weird, inconsistent things and alarming things I've ever seen. Like, it actually spoiled, like, the reveal, the fucking red herrings, everything about that ending.
I know. She's ruined. He said, I've always loved you twice. And she thinks he's just some guy that she just...
Joe, he was also acting like Jack fucking Torrance in The Shining. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, I love you so much. What? He didn't just reveal it just like by saying it. He revealed it in his behavior when he was like chasing you around a fucking mansion, being like, I fucking love you. Fucking crazy. It was the craziest thing. And at the end, she's like, thank God it's gone. And he's like, oh yeah.
Falls asleep in his arms.
Fucking weirdest thing, dude. I hated that ending.
But anyway, she said that, but then he meets Dorothy.
So he meets Dorothy as a kid. She's a young lady. She is a heavier set than the other gals. And by the way, the only reason I'm mentioning this is because like they love to fucking bring it up for the rest of the fucking movie. Because honestly, I thought she looked fucking normal, fine girl, and everyone else in the school is calling her a fucking buffalo, which is fucking insanity. Because Jeremy asks her to dance, and we get like a glimmer of hope for Jeremy. Cut to Jeremy and her making out, man.
Making out, yeah,
dude, getting it, like, dude. I would have fucking killed for that moment, dude. Good for Jeremy. Good for fucking Jeremy. Anyway, they're confronted by kids.
Yeah, we have a buddy who brags about almost making out with people at age like 25.
It's fucking true. So, like, this is a win. This is a win for a lot of people.
Sealed the deal.
They're confronted by a bunch of, I want to say older kids, but who knows? Bunch of other kids who are like, oh, look, it's a buffalo and a pervert making out. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then she's like, no, we're not. He forced himself on me, essentially. That's what she said.
And dude, these kids are like, wait, is this true?
You fucking assaulted the buffalo?
They were literally just insulting her and be like, oh, no, fuck, not on my watch.
Oh, the big fat pig and the little skinny pervert. Oh, wait, you're assault? You piece of... No one assaults a big fat pig on my watch. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking insanity. It's fucking crazy. And not only do they, like, get mad... Like, I expected, like, kind of just, like a normal bullying scene. They
fucking bludgeon.
They fucking drop a bowl of punch on him, which gets...
Why would he get sent to fucking reform school?
They pull him out from under the fucking bleachers and fucking beat the shit out of him.
Honestly, one of the biggest ass kickings like you could imagine
in film. Yeah, like straight up fucking kicking him in the face. 4 guys kicking him in the fucking head. Which also, again, back to that cop that is not a good guy, but is a good guy for like the first 30 minutes. That cop is like, you guys really treated this guy like shit, huh?
I'm
pretty sure he said
Making him a piece of shit. You know what? This is not a good movie. Making him a piece of shit is so uncalled for. Like that whole story angle and that arc. Mm-hmm. What was the point of that?
So that's actually my issue with this movie is the arcs, the stories of all of these people really is just like almost unfinished. I would say, like, what is the point of this? Like, so for a moment you get like for a minute you're like hit heavy with creepy dudes on dating sites. Great. I'm fine with that. Guys are fucking creepy as fuck. That is a great angle. I'm fine with that. But then they kind of like get rid of that. They just don't focus on anything, right? And then some of the women are pieces of shit in this, and it's just like, oh yes. Wait, what are we going with here? Like, what's the fucking plan here?
Yes.
It's really fucking bizarre, and that's where I think, and again, like, it's the same thing with the cop, where you're like, oh, I know who the cop is, and then you're like, oh, wait, I guess I didn't know who the fucking cop is, because he's just a big pervert that is unnecessary in this movie.
Completely unnecessary, and I know I've already said it, and we'll talk about it again, but, like, they gave a false ending, which, if they ended with that, I would have been fine with it. Like, I did not expect that, right? Mm-hmm. Or if they, like, the whole time, you know, you've already mentioned it, you know who the killer is. Like, just make it anybody else. Just make it be a fucking fake out and be like, oh my god, I was wrong. Like, now it makes sense.
And all you had to do is make one of the other people somewhat suspicious. The problem is every other person on the cast is not at all suspicious. Even the main other bad guy-ish guy, which is Campbell.
Dorothy's boyfriend?
Dorothy's boyfriend, Campbell.
I can't stop sneezing. I apologize. Oh. You might have heard it.
I've never heard it, so that's incredible.
I've sneezed like 4 times already.
Yeah, so it's this guy, Campbell, that Dorothy's dating. He's kind of hyped up to probably be but like, you don't have, there's no suspicion that he is that way, because everyone is just like, he's a crook and he's a thief and he's a con artist. That does not equate to somebody murdering people. Like, that wouldn't be this guy's MO.
You know what? You are turning me, because now it's like all coming to me. You're 100% right. They put so much effort into having this guy's like ex-girlfriend show up at every fucking scene, which we don't. Why is she even there?
Yo, and then I think she's like robbing somebody later in the movie.
When he's on the phone before he gets off, yeah, he 100% is. He's a total piece of shit. But then he immediately just gets killed, and like, well, that was for nothing. And then his ex-girlfriend still keeps showing up. You know, and like, are you supposed to believe it might be her? Because nobody thought that. Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
Why would she have any connection to anybody? Dude, and then Dorothy has a stepmom.
Oh my god.
Who she beefs with. And it's like, are you supposed to, like, is that supposed to fake you out?
That scene is insane and plays again, we say this with every movie, but plays a fucking zero part in this movie. It's fucking madness. It's fucking nuts. Well, Jeremy gets the shit beat out of him. And that's the end of that. 13 years later, we see
opening scene.
Very young Katherine Heigl. Very young Katherine Heigl. She's brand new to the scene. She's at dinner with some bozo. And again, like, this movie is about dating. It's sort of. It was a big focus, but how do I say this? There was a lot of scenes involving dating and a lot of dialogue involving dating. And it should have been a bigger part of the movie, and it wasn't. Like, it was just kind of this tool. I don't even really know what it was about. I'll be quite honest with you. But I guess it was just to be, I guess it was a tool to bring in a lot of love interests that could possibly be the killer.
Yes.
But the thing is, we know the killer within 10 minutes. So who the fuck cares? So Katherine Heigl's at dinner with this fucking bozo. That's the guy we talked about. He's got no fucking top lip. It's unbelievable. And he's just a fucking douchebag. And he refers to himself as Jason in the third person.
Third person.
He was like, Jason likes your dress. to a fucking waitress. And Jason's nuts, and he's just like the date ends, and he's like, "What? No fucking kiss?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, Jason doesn't like hard to get."
Dude, the face he makes, because she's like, "You know what, Jason? You're fucking psychotic. Please go get help." Dude, he literally breaks like the fourth wall and looks at the camera and just makes the biggest Paul face I've ever seen.
Oh my god!
But then immediately goes to another. So like that's why his second appearance in this film makes no sense, because he gets shot down from his date, and then immediately he's just like, "Hey, baby, Jason wants to talk to you." To the next person that makes eye contact with him. It's like, why would he not do that?
Yeah, exactly. And this movie's 2 years before the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, but holding the mantle for the standard of the early 2000s of having your female lead just pop on a tank top for no reason and just fucking do normal things in a fucking tank top with your giant breasts hanging out. Katherine Heigl performs an autopsy in a tank top and just like no clothes essentially.
Which like again, like I don't want to sound like a fucking pig, but like you love slasher flicks because of its gratuitous nudity and gore, right? And if you're going to go that close,
right,
like you're like, why not just have her do it fucking topless at that point? Why is she wearing a tank top performing an autopsy
in a fucking lab?
In a lab, just make her be topless. Like, it's already ridiculous.
I feel like we'll get that scene in Andy Sedaris movies.
Yeah,
the fucking morticians, the fucking morticians are just topless.
So many topless autopsies.
Oh my god, that would actually be amazing. It's fucking weird. Also, is that fucking dead Jim Parsons on the table? It looked like Jim Parsons. I'm holding out hope it was.
It did. Also, it 100% was looking at her for some reason.
Also, how did the body move later?
Boreanaz moved it.
He was wiggling its belly?
Oh, I thought you meant like moved it from the table.
No, its belly moves, right? Like...
Dude, I have no clue, because it sets it up like it's like reanimated, right?
It was fucking
like a zombie film. Yeah.
She starts hearing shit. She runs into a guy in her building who's literally just for a jump scare and to find her Valentine's Day card in her locker. The card reads, "A journey of love is an arduous trick." And she opens it. And it says, "My love grows for you as you bleed from your neck," which is a shitty rhyme. And it's also like one of those, not a pop-up book, but like you pull the tab and shit happens in the book. It's like one of those. So she pulls the tab and the fucking lady in the card's neck slices open. That would be the scariest thing to ever receive anonymously.
I do agree.
And her reaction is, "Oh, that's real fucking nice." Like a fucking disappointed mom. "Oh, nice, real fucking nice." I would be on the phone with the police so fucking quick, dude. I'd be like, somebody's just sent me this. She goes back into the lab. The body moves. I don't know how. And then she's attacked by Cupid. We're jumping out, man. The Cupid mask appears. I thought she stabbed him several times, but I don't think that's the case. I swore she maybe she was just punching him, but it looked like she was stabbing him with his own knife. But whatever. What do I know? She will set a trend for everyone in this movie who's being chased by Cupid to run into a room that has no exit.
Yes.
Listen, I know it's a trope in horror movies. I know you're going to see it in like almost every movie, but I feel like it happens 3 times in this movie, and it was just really exhausting. And it was always people that knew where they were And we're like, I know what's in this room, but I'm going to go in it anyway. And then they open the door and they're like, oh, shit. Here we go again. Like, what the fuck is this?
Except for the one random fucking clown house scene. Like, just make them be at a carnival if you're going to put that scene in. Instead they make them at an art exhibition, but they have like some funhouse mirrors.
Oh my god, that art. I have a lot. And again, that guy's a red herring. That is the least red herring I've ever seen. Like, I was like, this guy plays no part in this fucking movie. Just get rid of him. And yet he pops up constantly throughout the rest of the movie.
Including, like, the final scene.
Dude,
for some reason.
Shows up and is like, hey, guys. Like, yeah, we know it's not you. Just fucking leave.
Just fuck off, man.
Oh, my God. Well, she runs into, like, the morgue. Like, the I mean... I guess it's all... No, I think it's the morgue, like where the bodies are frozen.
Yeah.
Cupid follows her in, checks every bag. He finds her, and he slices that neck fucking wide open, baby.
Yep.
Not a great kill scene for a horror movie, though. Wait, is this really, like, the only... Like, no, I guess it's not the only...
No, there's some other bloody scenes.
It's just not very good, though, right? Oh, dude, Joe, don't lump the decapitated head. I've never seen anything so stupid in my whole life. Dude, most decapitated heads do not, in the horror movies, don't look great. This one doesn't even look like it's the same person. For a minute, I was like, who the fuck is that?
Tina said the same thing.
Like, who the fuck's face is that? It's fucking unbelievable. They were like, just grab a fake head from the fucking bag. Like, it's fine. That's it. She's dead. Katherine Heigl, done. Cut to two blonde gals. One is Denise Richards. I thought they were talking about dating on the internet. And I was like, wow, that's kind of impressive. It's 2001. That's not what they were talking about. They were talking about speed dating in person, which looks like a fucking nightmare.
Dude, so many... It does. Because, you know, even doing it on the internet is a fucking nightmare. You just have to read these fucking weirdos' messages. But imagine having those delivered to you in person.
Out of their fucking weird-ass mouths. Yeah, no, I don't. Did you ever have to do online dating or no?
I did not, no.
It was awful. It was awful. It was like one of the worst experiences like of all time. I mean, I've told you some fucking horror stories that came out of that were like unbelievable. Unbelievable. The only good thing about the speed dating is like, I guess like, you know what they actually look like.
That's true. That's true.
Because the internet, boy, it's a scary place. It's a scary fucking place these days. So they do speed dating, right? And it's your typical movie speed dating. I don't think there's really anything to say here, except they do paint guys as like creepy weirdos, which for the most part they are. It's fucking fact. It's a fucking fact.
The only thing that's weird about this scene is, you know, everybody's a creep, and there's one girl in particular who's looking for, you know, the match, right? And the one that she's matching with, Denise Richards comes in and is just like, hey there, here's my number. And like, then it abruptly ends and he goes home with neither of them.
And
also, I just don't understand the point of it.
Yeah, there's no point to it. And also, that guy might be the creepiest of them all. Like, he popped up and I was like, oh, this guy might be the fucking killer. And then,
yeah, well, that's the thing. Everyone else was just like socially awkward. You know, it doesn't make them like a bad person. Exactly. They're like stuttering and like nervous. You know, and this guy is, you know, exuding confidence and just a total fucking creep.
This guy,
he's the one that's like, oh, he's the normal.
This guy reminded me of the guy from our high school that bought roses for fucking every single girl, and like, not from a place of like gentlemanly, like, hey, everyone deserves to be happy, but from a place of like, one of them will suck.
One of you's gonna beg.
One of you will reach out to me and we'll make this happen. Like, that's the vibe I got from this guy, which is not a great one. I would never fucking be caught dead with somebody like this. Did I call that person a friend of ours? I use that term.
Just as someone from high school.
Okay, I use that term loosely. Whenever I say somebody's a friend, for the most part, they're not our friends. It's just somebody we know, including this person. Guy's a piece of shit. We could say his name. We have some stories about him too, huh?
Well, who refresh my memory. Who that was?
It was Heafy.
Okay, clap there. Okay, that guy. Now that you said his name, fuck that guy. Did I tell you? You can edit this out. Did I tell you the last time I saw him? It was we were at a wedding, and he came up. And, like, I knew he was there, and I was avoiding eye contact with him the entire night. And me and Tina are just sitting at a table with my brothers and their spouses. And he comes up, and I'm like, oh, fucking damn it. So this is Tina's first time meeting him. And he immediately, it's so insane. He's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And he's like, hey, did you hear about this? And it just tells, like, the most vulgar... Like, I'm a vulgar guy. Like, I curse stuff. It was the most sexually explicit... Like, I would never, in a billion years... start my first conversation in front of somebody that I just met with this story. And it was like the most sexually explicit story. And I'm like, first of all, I was just like, I said this out loud. I was like, well, you know, I don't need to hear any of this, man. Like, I literally said that. And my brothers are watching too. And Tina's just like looking at me. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, and he just kept going on and kept getting more and more vulgar. And I was like, dude, like, chill, man. Like, I don't need to hear this. He's like, we'll catch up later. And he, like, walked off like Beetlejuice does, you know? like that stupid walk Beetlejuice does when he's going to the whorehouse. And I remember at the wedding, please keep this in, actually. at the wedding, because hopefully he comes across. At the wedding, they were playing Don't Stop Believing by Journey. Yeah. And he just found this goal. Because before he walked off, he's like, yeah, there's only like 3 single girls here, and I'm going to get one of them. And he walked off like Beetlejuice, and one of them was like standing on the side of like where everybody was dancing, and he's just screaming like an inch away from her face, like, just a small town girl. And she was so repulsed, like you could just see it like come over and walk away, and then he just like disappeared into the crowd trying to find the next one to scream into their face. And as soon as he like disappeared, Tina was like, I don't like that guy at all. I was like, dude, listen, nobody does. Nobody fucking does.
Oh my god, that's incredible. I mean, really, and this might be this might be the final installment of a Valentino's story, because he was involved in Valentino's. Were you ever there when he was there?
I unfortunately was.
Valentino's is a place you go as a fucking joke, right? No one there is there for a good time.
He was going with a goal. That is...
He went for the good time, baby. He went up to the fucking bartender, which was that old lady, the old leather-faced lady.
I remember very well.
And he said, can I get a lap dance from one of these gals? Which is like, obviously this place isn't built for. There's no room for it.
There's no room for it, and there's only one, right? There's only one gal.
And the bartender is honestly fucking confused and is like, dude, this actually might be the Valentino story, because it's so insane. Because even the bartender, these people are just looking to make a buck. Even the bartender's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, is this a fucking sting or something?
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that is because I was with that guy, because I always tell that part of the story where the stripper heard us being like, oh my god, this is weird. The guy that I was with, that I was sitting next to, was like, dude, is he really asking this right now? Like, I remember the bartender being like, this guy has to be a cop. Like, this is not normal.
And he's like, can I get a lap dance? And she's like, I mean, I guess so. And he's like, okay, where? And she's like, I don't know. And they just pulled a fucking bar stool to the side of the bar.
To the side by the vending machine. The fucking vending machine.
A bag of chips was like, no, it wasn't even a vending machine. It was the like metal bag of chip hanger, right? It was like a hanger. Like they were like clipped onto the fucking thing. Yes. And Utz potato chip hanger was there. And so they just went behind the Utz potato chip hanger for a lap dance, which, like, don't know why you would pay for that, but that's fine. And he comes out fucking happier than a pig in shit. Like, the happiest human being of all time. And we're like, oh, hey. And he's like, I fucking fingered her. We were like, jeez. Are you fucking kidding? Why the fuck would you even do that? Like, why would that even be a goal? Like, why would that... First of all, that does nothing for you. Like, what are you doing?
It's paid for that.
Oh, yeah. Guess what, guys? I paid to finger her. What?
Jesus.
The fuck? And that's Valentino's, man. And that's that's our friend.
He's not. Stop saying that. Now operating a fucking Ponzi scheme. Dude, also at that wedding, that dude's hair looked like Ernie McCracken from the bowling movie Kingpin. At the end, when Bill Murray's hair is like completely out to the side, 100% what his hair looked like. It's fucking ridiculous,
dude. 100%, and I'm pretty sure he still has that hair to this day, and thinks it somehow like.
It's like that meme where Nick Cage's hair is a falcon. You know,
yes.
They Photoshop that bird in. Yeah, that's what he looks like. Idiotic.
Oh my god, that's fucking funny. Glad we got that out there.
Anyway, Valentine's.
Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. Speaking of Valentino.
Oh yeah, Heigl just died, and the killer got a nosebleed through the Cupid mask.
Yes.
I forgot to say that.
Which we know is, our guy from high school's MO.
Because he got a nosebleed, yeah.
He got a nosebleed when they poured punch all over his fucking head. Fucking weird. Yeah, and then they went speed dating.
Oh yeah, we're already well past that.
We're well past that, but we aren't well past the funeral for Shelley.
Yes, Katherine Heigl.
And that was a thing where they're leaving speed dating, and she's like, "Oh, hang on, I got a call." And she's like, "Oh God!" And then we just cut to fucking Shelley's funeral, where Bones is there. Fucking David Boreanaz is there, and he's.
And again, such a poor attempt of red herrings because everyone's like, man, I can't believe this happened. Like, I just talked to her. And then one girl's like, I didn't. It's been a few months for me. Practically being like the dun-dun-dun music.
Yeah. It was insane. And we meet Bones, who's dating Kate, one of the gals. And he's also a raging alcoholic.
Yes.
And he has a bottle of tequila in his car, which is not a great thing. And the woman's like, Kate is like, hey, what's that? He's like, don't worry about it. It's for a friend. Come on. And then it's revealed he's only been clean for 3 weeks. So it's a very reasonable thing for her to be like, hey, that's a bottle of tequila in your fucking car. What are you doing?
Yes.
Also, plays no role really in the movie whatsoever, but that's fine.
Except for the very end.
Does it matter though?
I mean, it's what sets off. The answer is no. The answer is no. It doesn't.
I mean, I get what you're saying now. It does, when that happens later in the movie.
He's drinking, and she's like, "Oh fuck you, get away from me."
I get it
because he's drinking. Yeah.
Which I assumed would lead to him being like, "I'm gonna kill you now," because she seemed kind of protected, but that's not what happens. So. Doesn't fucking matter. Well, he tries and then he's like, oh boy, that was weird, huh? And she's like, oh God, thank God you got the killer. Even though you were trying to kill me 5 minutes ago. Yeah. And then, and dude, boy, Boreanaz's acting is rough. his name is Adam in the movie, and Kate and him are talking, and he's trying to get back with her. She's a little hesitant. He's like, let's just go out for dinner. And she's like, Adam, last time we had dinner, we ended up in a hotel in Lake Tahoe for 3 days. And he's like, oh, right. Ha ha ha. All right. Ha ha ha. Dude, weirdest scene of all time. Also, that doesn't sound like a bad gig to end up
I was
in
just going to say, why is that a problem, especially if you're dating? Like, it seems like...
Sounds pretty fucking great to me.
Isn't that the ultimate end game?
You go to dinner and you end up in a fucking vacation spot? Like, yeah, I'll fucking take that all fucking day.
What a great date.
Greatest date of all time. She's like, oh, God, not that again. I can't go to Lake Tahoe again. Oh, my God. We meet the rest of the cast of women who look significantly older than the other ones, which I thought was odd. And I'm not trying to, like, shame them, but it seemed like a mismatch of ages. And would be fine if they were just a group of friends, but they were all in middle school together.
They were all in middle school together, and I even said that to Tina. I was like, how old are these people supposed to be? I can't really piece it together.
I thought one of them was going to be their mom, and then Dorothy turned out to be... Oh. Well, anyway. Paige is wearing a low-cut dress, and they're like, Jesus Christ, Paige. And honestly, it looks fucking fine. We have these ladies. Paige is the sassy one that wears low-cut dresses, and everyone's like, give me a fucking break. Dude, she looked totally fucking fine. Then we meet the detective who will slowly turn into a fucking piece of shit. And he's just like, hey, basically doing his detective intro as detectives do, right? Just kind of...
Yes, sorry. I was drinking. Yes.
Just kind of like, you know, hey, if you see anything, call me. Then we get another Valentine. I don't remember who opens it. Oh, I think it's fucking Dorothy.
It is Dorothy.
Which is weird because, okay, anyway. Her Valentine, like, what? This fucking sucks. Like, Dorothy gets this. Dorothy survives the movie till the end. So, like, there goes, like, the immediate threat of, like, receiving a Valentine. Like, so it's not...
Right.
And is this the last Valentine that's received?
It is not. There's another one.
Oh, okay. All right, well, Dorothy gets a fucking Valentine. It says, roses are red, violets are blue. They'll need dental records to identify you. I like it. I'm fine with that.
I kind of like it too.
Great card. However, it doesn't matter. Because we get the weirdest scene ever between Dorothy, who already looks like in her 40s, her fucking dad, and a very young woman. And I was like, they're running up the stairs. And I'm like, is that her fucking husband cheating on her? And she's just like, she just ignores it. And then the lady comes down, a very young woman comes down. And it turns out she's her stepmom and has married her dad.
And they get into like a very heated argument where he calls her a mail order bride, and mom's like, "Fuck you, you motherfucker! I'll kill you."
Dude, and the dad's like, "Don't you ever fucking say that to her."
And then she's like, "But Dad?"
Dude, it's fucking mental. It's one of the most mental scenes, and all for nothing because like this isn't a red herring. Like you could probably turn these people into red herrings, sort of.
Definitely could. You could build on that.
Yeah.
That scene was just a waste of cellulose.
Dude, it was fucking nuts. It was fucking wild. There's not even...
Also, in that scene, they introduce her red herring boyfriend, which at least that makes sense, but he's only in the scene for like 2 seconds.
Sure.
It's like, which I didn't even know they were dating, because at one point, the stepmom's like, didn't you just meet this guy at a yoga class? And she's like, yeah, what's it to you, you fucking bitch?
Dude, it's so true. That's like exactly what she says. And then this lady starts setting up the whole continued fat thing for Dorothy, which is like she grabs her arm and she's like, you could really fucking use to hit the fucking gym. This lady looks fine.
But she is, like, literally looks fine.
She grabs her fucking arm and is like, oh, well, fucking get a hold of yourself. And it gets crazier.
Everyone else, yeah.
Yeah, it gets crazy. Later, there's literally people that are like, she's like, I'm heavy. And people are like, oh, well, you're just fucking enormously boned. You're like, what the fuck? Oh, man. We cut to one of the gals. I feel like this is Kate. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is Kate. She is washing her hair, and then the water goes out.
So she uses the fucking toilet.
Bro, my problem with this, first of all, I'm a very pro, like, toilet water's clean water. Like, I'm very pro that. However, given the opportunity to use water out of a toilet, why wouldn't you just use the fucking tank? The giant tank, which would be great for your fucking hair.
Agreed. I completely agree.
Instead, she gets on all fours and fucking shoves it in the toilet bowl. Oh, man. She also finds the mask.
Yes.
Which was just not an interesting scene. Like, I just didn't give a fuck.
Which also, that should be the end of it right there.
Oh, and
Remember
also...
the neighbor?
Yes, that's what I was about to say. We meet the neighbor who is supposed to be a red herring and is awful at it because I'm like, this isn't him.
Yeah.
Because this guy's just out in the open being like, hey, I fucking love you. So this is not him, clearly. And later we'll find out he also steals her underwear.
Yeah, just breaks in her house and sniffs her underwear.
Fucking weirdo. Psychotic. Guy looks like a fucking lunatic, too.
Oh, I just want to circle back. At that funeral scene, the cop was like, hey, Katherine Heigl was last seen with this guy named Jason, and now he's missing. Which goes back to him popping up at this party. And
yeah.
And just never appearing again. What a fucking mess.
I forgot about that. And the cops arrest him.
They arrested him?
They arrest him later in the movie. We don't see it, but he's like, he calls the girls and he's like, yeah, we arrested him. Turns out we have no evidence, so we don't let him go. Can't you not arrest him unless you have evidence? Like, what the? Yeah. Sounds like a bad fucking plan to me. Like, arrest him and then be like, so, who's got the fucking evidence on this guy? And everyone's like, you should, probably. He's like, oh, well, away you go. That was fucking weird. Yeah, I didn't put together that guy was the missing guy from the Katherine Heigl scene. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's weird. Anyway, we cut to the ladies. The other group of ladies, Paige and... I don't know. What's her face? And
is it Lily? What was her name?
I think it might have been. Oh, yeah, and she's... Dude, the other problem is, like, sometimes you just need some cues in movies to determine who's who. So usually you can be like, oh, this is their significant other, so that's how I can identify them. But they're all just dating guys, like they're in the dating scene. So, like, they're with multiple different people. Like, I'm pretty sure this woman is the woman that is later dating the artist.
Yes.
And acting like as if they have, like, a long-term relationship.
Yes.
Because when she finds out he wants to have a threesome, she's like, you fucking scumbag.
Which, by the way, was the most awkward proposition
I've
ever seen.
Least sexy threesome I've ever... Start to a threesome I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Just some girl awkwardly, like, peeping her head, be like, it's me. And her be like...
Not even taking off her clothes, like, not even unbuttoning her shirt, but just kind of, like, wiggling it. Like, wiggling her shirt around. And, like, the girl's like, what is this woman doing? Can you please remove her?
Dude, honestly, just, like, a stare, like, 1,000-yard stare. Like, Lily's reaction was 1,000% correct. I'd be like, why is this fucking person staring at me? And his response was like, well, I invited her. I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me? Like, at least put some effort into like getting us to know each other. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't even be upset. I'd be like, honestly, if you think like like if I were, I'm like, I'm down with the menage a trois, but with this fucking weirdo, you fucking nuts. Like, look at what she's doing. What are you talking about? Why would you ask her to do this?
fucking introduce them first. Having her pop around a corner and be like, hey.
Fucking 9 million women here. You chose the woman who stands in the dark corner just pulling at her shirt like a fucking weirdo? Oh, boy. Anyway, so what do we have going on? There's just a bunch of scenes that happen here. Oh,
so that scene...
they get the chocolate.
Yes, and Lily eats it. The chocolate is filled with maggots.
Filled with fucking maggots. Oh, shit.
Which I didn't hate. I didn't hate it.
Which, by the way, I would, if I got that, I would be like, oh, we got a bad batch of chocolate, right? Somebody sent us a love note. It's a bad batch of chocolate. They're immediately like, who the fuck did this? Wait, was the letter threatening with the chocolate?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
1,000%.
All right, I take it back.
I was going to say, I would not be like, this is a bad batch of chocolates. I mean, somebody's fucking...
I forgot about the card. I forgot about the card. So JM sends this. And so now they're sitting around drilling through names and people. And they are actively like, who would have done this and why, right? They're listing people they've went on dates with, people that they just mutually know. And they're like, oh, this guy's name is John Morgan. And like, it's like, yeah, he wouldn't really have any reason. So they have like a very specific thing that they're looking for, right? Somebody that they know that they've wronged.
That has the initials JM.
Yes. And one of the girls says Jeremy Melton, which is the high school kid that was assaulted. And when Lily's like, who is that? She's like, oh, the fucking 60-pound pervert. Like, not a great start to fucking describing this kid. And already you should be like, oh, wait, yeah, might be him. Might fucking be him. Just based on what I initially said when I heard his name. And then they proceed to describe him in detail. And then, like we said before, Denise Richards is like, oh, wow, we treated that guy like absolute shit. And she's like, yep. And that's the end of that fucking scene. There's nothing left to... No one is like, it's probably him. They're just like, okay, well, that's a shame. Wish we didn't bully that kid. And that's the end of it. Like, they're not even... Like, their goal is to figure out who this is. That would be number one on your list.
Correct.
Anyway. But they don't care. They're just like, oh, well.
Then Which is so funny because, like, in the final act, almost everybody's like, well, why wouldn't it be this guy? And how are you sure? You're like, yeah, I know. Exactly. Why have you not been having this conversation this whole time?
Dude, even the cop says that at one point. He's like, why are you not fucking talking to people? Why aren't you calling me? Why aren't you calling each other? There's literally somebody out killing you. They go to this art exhibit where Marilyn Manson is blasting, and I can't think of a worse party atmosphere. If I walked into a party and Marilyn Manson's blasting, I'm fucking out of there. Bad shit's gonna happen. And they go through this fucking shitty art exhibit. One of the girls is like, oh, it's like a lingerie commercial. Is it? It looks like a bunch of fucking mouths and noses and eyeballs all over the place. It looks like the opposite of a fucking lingerie commercial, quite honestly. We get the threesome scene, which is just fucking nuts. And in that, Lily is like, fuck you, you scumbag. And she leaves. She's just walking through the exhibit. Now, this is an exhibit in a small building.
A small building, and it's just an art exhibit, and it turns into the House of Horrors
real quick, like as if this Cupid would somehow have access to like changing the wall structures and turning off the power. But he does, and then he shoots her with a bunch of fucking arrows right to the fucking gut.
Why? You already have her cornered. Like, what about how much effort? Like, if you're gonna use a bow and arrow, why even like you could do that from far away? You know, he's very close to her. Like, just fucking stab her.
I remember using the bow in gym class and being like, "Whoa, this is way more effort than I thought. I'm good.
Fucking night.
I don't need to fucking use this. No wonder guns were invented. This is fucking sucks. Who the fuck would use this? It's fucking idiotic."
Dude, also, using a bow and arrow in high school, especially knowing like our class, fucking what a nightmare.
Everyone,
I'd also be furious if I knew my kids were doing that. Just like knowing what I went through, like the people that were in my gym.
Dude, I don't think we talked about this on the show, but recently you and Paul and I in a private chat, you guys listed who was in your, because we did classes by, it was like color coded classes, and you were on like red team or something.
Yeah, red team.
Dude, the people in that class were fucking monsters.
It was legendarily bad. and it lived up to its, like, every bad person. Like, it's terrible to call them bad people, but like every bad person you could think of or remember was on that team, and every day lived up to its reputation. Like, I would have quit. Like, if I was the teacher, I would have honestly fucking quit. Every day was some bullshit. Fucking legendary. Dude. I remember almost every day of 8th grade, just because it's like it was movie-esque. You could not make up shit that happened that we put people through.
When you guys listed the people in that team, it was insanity. It was fucking insane. Like, usually you have to, as an administrator, sprinkle those people across. You have to across
them teams. They all had. It was 8th grade. They honestly, like 90% of them had criminal records, and then there was like goofball, like Paul and I were fucking criminals, or like bad people, right? But like goofballs, like, you know, people that would cause a ruckus when put together, and it was us and Brian. Like, what a fucking nightmare.
You know what's crazy is there's probably somebody that was on that team that like actually cared about their grades, and imagine like the setback that team put on their education.
So many times being in just like complete lockdown. As 8th graders, like you know
prison.
better.
That's like fucking prison. Locking down cell block C.
Sean, it was honestly like every single day. It'd be like, you guys we're not gonna do shit until everybody has their hands like on their heads. Their heads on, that's a true story. Like literally every day, like hands behind your head and fingers interlocked and your face on the table. Like, we're not doing anything until this is diffused. Even gym class, dude, they tried to do wrestling in class, and like normal high school wrestling, you know, like Greco-Roman wrestling. Yeah. Dude, fucking neck breakers and stone cold stunners were given. People being thrown off bleachers. People, because you know you had the lockers in the gym. This kid who was like 6'5" in 8th grade and like 200 pounds of just mass would take the lockers and wrap them around his fingers like brass knuckles and just slug people. It was insane. And so I think wrestling lasted 2 full classes, and we had to spend the rest of the time writing book reports because we were unable to continue.
Oh my god!
And then they introduced floor hockey, which they prepped us for like weeks. Be like, you guys need to prove that you can handle floor hockey. You're not gonna pass. Like, you're gonna be held back because of gym. Blah blah. Dude, they set up with like those stupid mats. You know, they set up penalty boxes. I spent every single floor hockey class in the penalty box, along with like 6 other people, and it was the most wild. Like we were heckling the gym teachers, and like it was the most wild time probably of my life. I remember it distinctly, and it was literally said like the minute they blew the whistle, we would just try and fight people, like pull the shirts over their head and slug them, and just immediately get thrown in the penalty box and then heckle. And I distinctly remember this guy because he was a young guy. He'd be like, "Keep running your mouth, you're gonna get another minute," and this kid. Husky would just keep running his mouth, and he would get everybody that was around him another minute on, and we would spend the entire class, and they would pile people into it. So it would only be like the hockey games would only be like 2-on-2, like the two good people in the class who didn't want to cause any trouble were allowed to play. We all had to watch from the penalty box.
Oh my god! Was that the gym teacher that got fired?
It was
from my Washington trip for getting fucking loaded. Like,
it was.
I have a real problem with that too. Dude, the only relief you have on a fucking sleepaway field trip with fucking high schoolers is drinking.
I mean, you're of age, right? And it's already, like, there was a curfew. People had to be in bed. Like, I don't really see, as long as you weren't, like, committing a crime or being so plastered where you had to be, like, walk back to your room. I don't see a problem with going down to the hotel bar and having a drink.
I agree with that. I thought that was, like, super fucking weird. Now, I don't know all the details. Maybe he did get a little fucking weird. But, I mean, listen. That whole trip is like fucking chaos. Bringing kids to Washington, D.C., watching porn.
Sean, dude, I distinctly remember, first off, somebody was able to, like, get onto our balcony from that. Sean. This is true. From another. Also, the kid that I bunked with brought weed. This is the first time I was ever exposed to weed on the 8th grade field trip.
No way. No fucking way.
Yeah. He's dead now, obviously. you can edit that out.
All right.
But he smuggled that in. But someone got onto our balcony, which the balconies didn't connect, so he must have climbed.
Joe, like,
and he was just banging on the door.
Joe, I actually have chills right now. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I actually have chills because, like, first of all, they make it so you can't get out onto the fucking window, and then the balconies 100% do not connect. Like, was he scaling the fucking building?
Sean, they did not connect. So and it was. Please edit this out. But so it wasn't even a kid who was like a super troublemaker, right?
Yeah.
We were in the hotel room and we hear a banging from the glass from the outside. We're like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And also, keep in mind, this kid was just showing us the weed that he brought. So we're like, oh my god, like, we're getting raided. Like, we don't know what's happening. and we open the blinds. And we're like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, dude, turn on this channel right now. And we turned it on, and there's some lady getting fucked by an ostrich. This dude is getting fucked by an ostrich. We're like, what? What are you? Why is this on? How did you even get this? Like, what? And he's like, dude, we ordered it for everybody. and he was just going balcony to balcony telling everyone to turn on this channel. It was fucking wild.
Wait, how did he order it for everyone?
I have no clue. Probably put it on his parents' credit cards. Put it to every room on the floor or something. I don't know what he did.
Probably like $500.
Dude, it was the most wild thing I think I've ever seen. And like, I was like, how do you, also probably the most obscene thing I've ever seen. God. I'll never send my kids on that trip.
All this to say is, can you imagine these people with fucking bows and arrows?
Wait, imagine these people with what?
Bows and arrows.
Oh, yeah. That's what we got on, yeah. No, and they gave it to us, and what a fucking nightmare.
Like, all it takes is one guy to turn and fucking, like...
And just shoot it in some guy's forehead? And what is preventing that?
There is one gym teacher.
Nothing preventing that. That's terrifying.
He can't stop you. Also, I mean, I guess the one thing, which is the point of all of this, is he can't stop you because fucking bow and arrows were a nightmare to use. Fucking almost completely ineffective. But he kills this young lady.
Yeah.
I wish that was the end of the movie. Oh, also,
I can't believe we've been talking for 2 hours.
I know. That girl dies.
Yes.
Well, no, wait, I'm sorry. That girl doesn't die. Wait. They get into a fight.
Is this the dumpster?
Yes. Where he like somehow pushes her out a door and then she falls like
40 a spiral staircase, 40 floors. Why is there a dumpster there?
There would never be a dumpster in that.
How would you even get the dumpster in that position? At the bottom of a spiral staircase. And then when she falls in it like miraculously closes, like the dumpster lids close on top of it so no one can ever know.
Yeah. fucking weird. Bones is buttering up Kate, which is going well, I guess. Back to the cops, though. He interviews all the girls at once, and he finds out they've all received notes from JM. And he's like, hey, assholes, didn't I tell you to fucking call me? And at this point, he's chasing the other guy. Well, and his name was, I forget his name, but it began with J and M, the guy that Katherine Heigl was with.
Jason, yeah.
Jason. He's like the suspect of interest, right? The person of interest. And his initials are JM. And he's like, hey, dickheads, I told you to fucking call me. And they're like, oh, okay. And this is also when Dorothy reveals that Jeremy never attacked her. And they're like, why would you make that up? And she's like, do you remember what I fucking looked like? Dude, you look like a fucking little girl. Like, fucking relax. And they're like, oh, listen, man, you were just kind of huge. Like, you were, and
just obese.
You're just fucking obese. It's not a big deal. And she was like, I was fucking fat. It's a fucking alarming scene. All of this is like her excuse for sending what's his name to fucking a psychiatric ward. And this is also when the cop's like, well, congratulations, you're all fucking awful people because he went on to murder his parents in a house fire, go to a reform school, get kicked out, and be locked in an insane asylum for the rest of his life. They're like, oh, geez. Then the cop's like, listen, we got his photo, his childhood photo. We've digitized it. We've aged it up. Does this face look familiar to you? And it's like changing faces.
Dude, they went through probably like 25 different options. Couldn't look less like David Boreanaz.
Nothing even close to him. And the cop just literally hates these people. And the girl's like, you got anything more recent? And the cop's face is like, he Paul faces this girl.
The best like, acting, yeah.
It's just like, are you fucking, if I had it, you'd be looking at it. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the scene where I said the I was like, the cop is the best character in this movie.
100%. And then he immediately
calls Denise Richards in for questioning. And he's like, you can't deny this any longer, this tension between... There has been no evidence of tension between... In fact, Denise Richards is so fucking rude to this guy every scene. I was almost like, what is Denise's fucking problem? Like, what? This guy just wants to help.
Yeah. And he's like...
How could you mistake that for sexual tension?
Dude, and the cop's like, what are we going to do about this tension? She's like, what are you saying? And he gets probably like 3 inches from her fucking face. And he's like, oh, this fucking sexual tension. Fucking breathing heavy. And she's like, I gotta fucking go. You're an asshole. Oh, man. Cut to Cupid killing the neighbor that, we knew wasn't the other killer. And now we definitely know it wasn't the killer. So
he was in the act of sniffing her panties.
He was in the... Yes. Yeah. And here is really where you understand it's David Boreanaz because... We literally had just seen a scene where Kate was like, hey, that neighbor, he sniffs my panties and he acts weird, but it's fine. And David Boreanaz was like, oh, okay. And then the guy is dead 2 minutes later. And then Kate comes home and David Boreanaz is leaving her building. And is like, oh, funny to see you here. And Kate's like, oh, yeah, that's weird. And I don't even remember what his excuse was. Because it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what his excuse was because it made no fucking sense. Fucking crazy. He's leaving her fucking apartment. And then he's like, here, I got you a lollipop for Valentine's Day. She's like, wow, you're the best. Guy sucks. Oh boy, this is all kind of useless. We get more in depth into Campbell and Dorothy. Dorothy buys him a Rolex. And he's immediately like, cool. And then goes into the other room and is like, we need to siphon all this money out of her family.
Immediately.
Like, literally just walks out of the room and does that. And then when she's like, hey, honey, can you light the fucking pilot light? He's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, man.
He gives her a Cupid
necklace.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Which is the shittiest right here. Because he immediately dies. So it's like, what's the... Like, if you're going to do that, like, make us think it until the end, maybe. But it's literally the next scene he's fucking off.
Exactly. He goes downstairs, and by the way, this is how you know these people are rich, because they have an axe in the basement. He goes to the basement to light the pilot light, and there's an axe with a fucking stump in the basement. Like, they put a fake... like. They cut a stump out from outside, put it in the basement, and put the axe in it. Like, has an axe holder. Never seen anything so fucking insane. That's a wealth
in
right
the
there.
Basement.
That's fucking wealth. Like, oh, this is... And by the way, he is lighting like a normal furnace. It's not a wood-burning furnace. He's lighting a fucking pilot light. It's a gas furnace.
Gas furnace.
So they just have an axe in a stump in the basement. Just to be like, yeah, sets the mood.
Just in case you might get murdered one day.
Just fucking basement vibes, bro. And he does. He gets murdered. He takes the axe to the back. And that's the end of him. So, again, we're, even if you thought maybe it's this guy Campbell, which it wasn't, because he's all about the finances. Now you're back to just Boreanaz as the only fucking suspect possible.
And the only other person who's like an oddball is that guy who was dating Lily, the art guy, who is not the killer because he was in the room and it was left,
Yeah.
He had no time to change, so you could immediately rule him out. Also, there was the other girl with the threesome. And then this fucking guy who just got killed, his ex-girlfriend, like we mentioned before, who keeps showing up and be like, that's my thing you're wearing. He's a con artist. Like,
when they pushed her as possibly the killer, like towards the end of the movie, I was honestly offended. I was like, this is infuriating that they think I'm this fucking stupid to think that this woman might be the fucking killer. Because it just made no fucking sense.
I'm with you. It was insulting.
It was insane. Well, Dorothy starts her Valentine's Day bash. But her boyfriend doesn't show because he's dead. So she just is pounding 50 wangs in the fucking kitchen. Dude, she's got a plate of fucking wing bones. Because, she's fucking enormous. And all of this while the Mortal Kombat theme song is like playing in the background. Fucking Dust Brothers tune jamming out in the background. Fucking giving me a headache. Paige meets that guy from the fucking first scene in the movie again. And he's like, let me take you upstairs and show you a surprise.
Wait, that was Paul?
What?
Or, not Paul. Jason, sorry.
No, it's not Jason.
Oh, that's the guy.
This is the guy from the speed dating.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
That we've literally never seen since the speed dating scene. And now...
Got it.
And now she's like, I invited him to this party. Why? What? Anyway, she invites him. He shows up and he's like, I've got a fucking surprise for you, but I got to show you upstairs. That's obviously his fucking dick. Like, dude.
It was so obviously worded that it was going to be his dick. And when she gets up there, she's like, wait, is this surprise your dick? And he's just like, yeah. Wasn't that obvious?
Honestly, it's infuriating that Denise goes up there because, like, it's 100%. They're, like, making out on the dance floor. They just met. And he's like, I think it's time to go upstairs. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I got a surprise for you. And it's like, well, obviously this is his penis. And it was. He pulls down his pants, his dick's hanging out. And she's like, wait, is your surprise your penis? It's like, yeah. why don't
He tells
you?
her to wax.
Yeah, he goes,
wax.
why wax that thing? And she's like,
What does that mean?
bro, I have no fucking idea. It was honestly fucking disgusting to hear. It honestly pissed me off. He's like, yeah, aren't you gonna fucking wax it now? What? Fucking weirdo? Fucking creep.
She does.
She does. I actually wrote a note here where I was like, obviously, she's going to tie him up and steal his clothes. And womp womp, that's it. And that's not what happens. She does tie him up and then just pours hot wax all over his fucking cock. Which he's
Probably the most graphic scene in the movie.
honestly, it honestly was. And also, this guy just disappears from there. He's not dead. He's just got a waxy dick.
Yeah, he has a burnt ween.
He got a burnt peen, a little hard case for his wiener, and he's tied up. Also, you'd think that this would come back into play at some point, like, I don't know, just anything. You can use it. You can use it to your advantage.
You definitely could. You filmed it. You should be able to bring it back in.
It's fucking weird. Oh, boy. Dorothy has an exchange with the ex-girlfriend who has shown back up at the party, which, she wasn't invited to, doesn't know about it, but she's there. She shows up and is like, this is the same shit she's been saying. She's like, this guy's going to steal all your money from you. And then in the next scene, she's fucking, digging through his shit, being like, ooh, a Rolex, and, taking shit. So I was like, oh, maybe the reveal is she's the thief. But that's nothing like that. Of course, nothing, significant like that happens. Instead, Cupid walks in with it carrying a dead maid and is like, whoops. Whoops.
Which, given his MO and his motivation, why did he kill her? Why did he kill the maid?
That makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. He's just carrying her around, and this ex-girlfriend is like, "Oh, ha ha ha!" And it's like, "Oh my god, she's dead." Smashes a pool cue over his fucking brain, and then, like everyone else in this movie, runs into a sealed room that she can't escape from. Oh. Except she does escape from it. She runs into a sealed room and then runs into a sauna. And I'm like, oh, sick. A fucking burn alive sauna scene. I'm fine with that. That doesn't fucking happen. She just leaves. The only time in history the killer is actually like, oh, she's not in here. And then fucking leaves. And then she leaves. And then somehow fucking the killer just fucking brutally kills her by shoving her neck into a broken glass.
Broken glass, yeah.
Yeah. Well, fucking old Bones is drinking again. Looking to bury his bone, if you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's.
Well, Kate ain't about it. Kate's pissed. Which, I mean, yeah, sure. But, and if you're following along, you're obviously like, oh, well, this makes sense because now he has a reason to kill Kate too, right? Because
yes,
if you've assumed it's David Boreanaz, then he doesn't want to kill Kate. He wants to love Kate.
Right.
And now you're like, oh, now he's got the kind of the go ahead to fucking kill her because she's like, you piece of fucking shit. And he's like, well, what? Well, Paige, cut from that to Paige going into a hot tub in the middle of the fucking party. There's a party going on and she just takes a relaxing hot tub moment on the roof. And Cupid
which they explain, because there's no reason for her to be there by herself, right? And they explain in a one-off comment of Dorothy being like, she always goes to the hot tub. It's like, it's her Emma.
Fucking the weirdest thing. And she does, and Cupid shows up and locks her in using a clear cover, which I don't think exists, because that would be weird. But they need to film Denise under the cover, so here we go. We got a clear cover to the hot tub. And then the killer turns into the driller killer.
Driller killer.
Grabs a giant drill, which is completely unnecessary to a clear vinyl fucking lid. But that's fine. Dude, he's spending so much time fucking drilling through this thing and not hitting her.
Yes.
She's so
trapped.
ineffective.
Yeah.
Fucking 4x4 square.
Also, you could have just, like, she's trapped in there. Like,
just aim for her fucking stomach and
just walk away. She's not getting out.
Yeah, that's true too. And then instead he opens it up and just fucking slices her fucking throat. Oh wait, no, that's not what happens. I'm sorry. He opens it and throws the drill in.
Oh yeah, and electrocutes her, right?
After 1,000 holes he's drilled and missed her, he's like, whatever. Like, I'm just gonna fucking throw this in there right now. Just opens the lid and fucking throws it in and fucking electrocutes her. So Denise is dead. So we got Kate, we got Dorothy, we got Adam. Bones. That's it. So,
yes.
That's it, man. And Kate and Dorothy get into an argument about which boyfriend is the murderer, which is like, if that's the argument you're having, you should probably both break up with them.
Reevaluate your life choices. Yeah.
No, it's not my boyfriend. My boyfriend would never do that. Yeah, well, I think your boyfriend might. Like, what the fuck is this fucking scene? It's fucking insane. But nothing happens there. Kate tries to call the cop, finds the phone by the pond, along with Joe. Have you ever seen a movie that had to spell out like something more clear? Like she's like goes to the pond. In the pond, she finds the police's cell phone, the IOU note that she wrote to David Boreanaz, and the cop's head. And it's like, oh, so like in this moment, you're like, oh, Kate now knows it's Dave, right? She runs into the fucking house. Dave is the only one there for some reason. Everyone's gone. The power's out. And Dave is acting like a fucking
stumbling like
lunatic.
A madman.
Lunatic. Talking like a crazy person. Dude, he's acting like fucking Jack Torrance in The Shining. Like he's like, just come here, let me love you. Let me love you. And he's like, just one dance. Like, dude, obviously
you know that scene in the Naked Dead where Leslie Nielsen is trying to get the killer, but he ends up like entering some girl's apartment and is just like, lunging towards her, and she doesn't know who he is, so she's freaking out. That's exactly what he's acting like.
It's fucking insane. He's going, dance with me. And he's like, remember junior high? Dude, like, this guy is, like, fucking insane. She gets away from David Boreanaz, and I don't really know how, but she's terrified, right? And, like, I'm like, well, she knows because he's the killer, right? She found the IOU note, a decapitated head, and now this guy's acting nuts and chasing me around the house. Like, she knows he is the killer. She knows he's the killer. She gets away. And he's like, hey, Kate, what the hell is going on? And then she gets the gun. There's a gun in the house, which Dorothy had mentioned to her.
Dorothy mentioned her dad had it.
So she has the gun, and she's kind of on the offense, right?
Yes.
And she finds Cupid, who is in the mask. So not David Boreanaz. She finds Cupid in the mask. And David Boreanaz shoots her like 25 fucking times. And you're like, oh shit. It's somehow not David Boreanaz, which makes no fucking sense to the story whatsoever.
So I will say, it's not David Boreanaz. They take the mask off, and it's Dorothy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I would be fine with that ending.
With that. Because she's mad, she's had arguments with literally everyone about being, thinking that she's fat, and how,
right.
She, right before all this, she gets into a very heated argument where she's like, I'm fat, everyone's more popular than me, like, you guys have never respected me, blah, blah, blah.
It's actually a cool ending, in my opinion.
If it ended there, I'm like, I thought it was David Boreanaz, it made sense to be David Boreanaz. It would still need to be wrapped up as to, like, why he was now named somebody different.
Right.
But I'd be fine with it being Dorothy.
Yeah.
So I was kind of happy at this point.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. And it also, like you said, like, it's fucking Dorothy, and then all of a sudden, Boreanaz turns into, like, super good guy. And, and is like, don't look. And it's like, what? You were literally chasing her around a fucking mansion, being like, love me, you stupid idiot. Like, acting like a fucking crazy person. And it turned, and oh wait, there was one line that I actually laughed so hard. Because Kate is like, a few weeks ago, she was so happy. Happier than I've ever seen her. And all I can imagine, because like this whole like movie is just talking about how fat she is. Because all I can imagine was David Boreanaz being like, yeah, and then she turned into a fucking blimp. Like, yeah, well, that's what happens when you get fucking enormous. Oh boy. And he says, I love you, Kate. Always have. And they're
Second time he
hugging.
says that.
They're snuggling. And then and then he just starts bleeding all over because his fucking nose is bleeding like a faucet. Leading us to confirming that David Boreanaz is in fact the killer.
Yes.
And the movie is not fucking ended.
Which I just said I would have liked that Dorothy was the killer. But like, why is it being initial JM? Like that, it would have still had so much more to be wrapped.
Joe, why couldn't you have used the original JM? Dude, like, so there's a guy tied up in fucking bed. When I first saw the Cupid after like David's chasing her, I was like, it's the fucking guy that was tied up in bed. That's a great use of like a hostage situation, right? Like, you're like, I'm going to free you. I'm going to kill you. Unless you like, you know what I mean? And then you put the mask on him and he runs down the stairs like a lunatic. And you're like, oh shit, it's the fucking killer. And then David Boreanaz kills him. And it's one of the 18 lovers from the movie that could have been used in that scene that gets tied up in bed. And instead, they randomly choose fucking Dorothy, which isn't like a problem, but just doesn't like even for a moment make you be like, oh, okay. Like, it just makes no sense, but we're cool with it because the idea is a good idea. But like, right. It doesn't make fucking sense at all for the rest of the movie.
Right.
But yeah, so definitely flawed, but not a bad movie. Not
miserable.
No,
it's sufficient enough to sit there.
It's sufficient. Put that on its grave. It's sufficient enough to sit through. Whatever director wants to hear. All right, we gotta fucking wrap this up. This is the fucking end of this episode. We have live show on the 27th. Join us for that. IHateHorror.com or join us at patreon.com/IHateHorror. Mingle to your experts. Get in for free, baby.
And for those who have been like teetering, or maybe you're like, man, I don't really care about this movie. It's very loosey-goosey. We mostly just like interact with you, to be honest with you. Like you guys get to chat with us as we're talking, and then we pull people in. Like, you guys get to be on video and interact with us. That's my favorite part of it. Like, you know, talk about the movie's cool, doing our show format is cool, but like the fact that we get to see your comments in real time and respond to them and interact in real time, and then having you come on, that's what makes the live show awesome.
Joe gets super drunk and then demands I bring everyone on at the same time. Last week you were like, bring them all on. I was like, I'm not doing that, because we already had like 4 people in there and it was fucking pure chaos. And I was like, I'm not bringing on the other 6 people like waiting in the wings. But it was a fucking blast. It was a blast. And one of my favorite things that I don't know, was it this live show or the other one? Was our buddy Dre in Australia fucking schooling Paul. Fucking talking down to Paul. The only man to have done it. Paul even said fuck. he was like, shit. Because he fucking out kung fu'd him. Out Shaw Brothers him.
He did. Shaw Brother knowledge.
That was fucking fun, man.
The champion.
Yeah. We should definitely do like a Shaw Brothers thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll take it back. All right. Well, that's all I've got. Shirts are going out. Appreciate all of you guys for listening and donating and oh boy, just giving us reviews and being part of this this reboot, if you will, of the show. It's been so much fucking fun. I've had so much fun the entire time.
Same.
Oh man, it's a blast. So glad to be here. And that's it. We didn't shout out the other things. Facebook.com/IHateHorror, Instagram.com/IHateHorror. Joe, what's your Instagram?
Brugness 1985.
And we're on Twitter at I Hate Horror Show that we don't use. So, I check it every once in a while. And that's it, guys. So for Joe, what's next week? Guns. I don't know where to watch it. Dude, is that on YouTube? That has to be on YouTube.
I think it's on Prime.
Is it really?
I think so.
It is on Prime Video. Whoa, what a cover, baby. Wait, also a movie came up called Two Guns starring Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
I hope that's the sequel. Also, Gun starring 50 Cent and Val Kilmer. Jesus Christ.
No, the one that we're doing has Danny Trejo and Eric Estrada.
Yeah, I should specify it. Dude, Eric Estrada? He's like James Bond holding a fucking assault rifle. Holy mackerel. All right. This is going to be great. I'm so excited. And that's it, guys. So for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
I dissect movies all fucking day.
I wanna play.
I'm gonna watch what I'm not supposed to watch. A fucking zombie getting sliced and diced. The monster.